What's good? What's good? What's good? And welcome to the Liberal 12th Man Show. I am the Liberal 12th Man, and I am here today doing my best to stay hydrated with some good tea, and also doing my best to stay positive despite some of the things that are going around our community. It's like kind of therapeutic to be here as always. So that's how I look at it, and that's why I'm here. I simply enjoy the fact that you're joining with me today. So I hope that you enjoy the show. We're gonna do like a little late night session. Normally we don't come. Usually we join at the 7 o'clock hour, but today it is a little bit past 9 o'clock in the UK, and we are going to be talking about some of the things going on. We got some good news about some of the fixtures that we have to get or a fixture that would get rescheduled. Some of the returnees of players coming back to the team that have joined in training and possibly could be additions to the lineup. Much less, most certainly, I think the lineup for our League Cup matchup. And also, we have some great news about some possible incoming young talent that could be welcome additions to the always inspiring and if not like flourishing youth academy that we have, that is certainly starting to look like a destination for a lot of players around the world that are part of some great teams, and they're looking at Liverpool as an opportunity to continue that pathway toward getting recognition and getting some playing time. So it is absolutely incredible to see some of the names that are going to be involved in it and some of the hype that's behind some of these names. So I'm very excited to share that with you. We should be joined by some of the regulars and the normal lot. But if not, I hope that you don't mind enjoying the ride with me solo, if that's the case. I know that I didn't get a chance to put it into our group chat, the link. So hopefully some of the guys can get the link and then spread the link to those that want to be a part of today's show. I know it's a little bit late in the hour, but all the same, it's always a good spot and good times. So I think one of the best things I heard today, and what I was very excited to hear, is that we have gotten a date. I believe it's tentative. It still has to be approved, but we have gotten a date for this Everton-Liverpool matchup at Goodison Park. It will be possibly the last time we get to play Everton at Goodison Park, albeit unless we see them in the FA Cup. But it would be the last time in the Premier League, at least, that we will see Everton in their grounds, or at their grounds, known as Goodison Park. So it should be pretty interesting to see as well. Also, what's great about the news that I'm about to tell you is that it ends up being situated very prominently positive for us, I will say, in that it is during a date that will be it's during a date that is between two fixtures that isn't necessarily some of the more highlighted or difficult matchups that we have on our schedule. Every game is tough. Don't get it twisted. Every game is difficult, but as of right now, the rescheduled match at Goodison Park for the Merseyside Derby is going to be February 11th. February 11th is the date that they're talking about doing, and that means that it'll be in between Liverpool traveling to Bournemouth the week before that on the 1st, and then on the 16th we will be hosting the Wolves at Anfield. So it is certainly a positive note to know that it's not like we have, some difficult matchup. And I won't say difficult in all respect. difficult as in being like a title contending team that we have to face off against, or maybe it's like some Champions League matchup the week before or something along those lines. It's not the case. So, and it also means that we don't have it on the January 1st date that was kind of floated out there. It also means that we will be able to go the entire month of January without having to worry about it. That's promising, I think, because January has certainly a nice gang of fixtures, and also it also has and also December obviously has a boatload of fixtures, being that it was next to impossible to get that involved in that schedule for December. So it is positive, and it is cool to see that we have that going on with the case. Let me see something too. I just got a message here. Let me just say too. I didn't get to put the link in the chat. So, other than that, I mean, like I'd like to know what your feelings about that is. I mean, are you happy to hear that we're going to have this date put into a spot where it's not going to be an issue possibly for us, whereas like I said, with the likes of not having to face, previously it was following two of our most difficult opponents that we've seen so far in our run, in that we had to take on Real Madrid and we had to take on Manchester City. So with that said, it was not an easy situation to deal with. But now, February 11th is going to be the setting where we're going to have to take on this fixture, and it should be a good one. Cool. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Let me get the appropriate thing. We got actually joining us. We have Brian, aka Laszlo. How are you doing, Brian? Okay. I think I don't know if your mic's. I see your mic's not on mute, but he might be away from the microphone. But yeah, we have a good run of games here, so it should be cool. I'd like to know if you guys are excited about the fact that it seems very similar to some of the settings, that it is certainly promising that we can get through this year without some of these fixtures absolutely in the bum, for lack of a better word. So bring up JK too. Big up, guys.
Bro.
All right, big up JK. How are you doing?
How's it going, man?
All good, bro. All good.
Oh, good. Appreciate it. Definitely. I was just talking about the fact that we have this fixture now being floated out there that is going to be on February 11th. I was talking about how it is going to be situated in between the matchup where we go to Bournemouth the week before, and then the 16th, that's on the 1st of February, and then on the 16th we go or we host Wolves at Anfield. Okay. So basically there's a 5-day gap in between that game, and then an even larger gap in between, meaning 10-day gap in between the Bournemouth and the possible Derby matchup. So it's not like it's going to be, we'll have enough time to kind of get some rest, also get properly trained and focused on what is normally a very difficult matchup for us, because we haven't won at Everton in quite some time. So or at least some of our record isn't the best at Goodison Park. They tend to play us very what can you say? They definitely tend to play us with their low block and their little sometimes dark art style of playing, and look to just get a result. And they certainly bring a little bit of the dirtiness involved in with some of the challenges. But it should be a case where, hey, you know what, we'll be prepared for it and ready for it. What do you think, JK?
For me, bro, I think I was looking like the January time.
Mm-hmm.
January 1st even.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been ideal, I think. But for
Oh,
me,
you
the
think
Wolves
things
game
like
and
no? Okay.
but I think it's okay. The two games either side of that game,
Mm-hmm.
like if we when we play Bournemouth away, that means the next weeks the players will be able to stay in Liverpool because of the Everton. It will be Everton away, and you were saying who do we have at home? Wolves. So
Yeah,
we've got
Wolves
Wolves
are
at home as well. So
right.
Wolves at home and Everton away. So it's all sort of in the city, so they don't have to travel around that time as well. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it in that way. So it's not. It's okay. Like
Okay. Okay. I was looking at it as like it'd be not. It's considering all the fixtures that we're going to have to go through in December, considering all the players are trying to get back to playing status. I kind of didn't mind it being a little bit of a wait for that matchup against them. You know, that's how I was looking at it because you know it won't be until April, April 2nd, that we end up having to face them again at Anfield, obviously. So, you know, that's March, April. So it's about 2 months in between those two fixtures, and it gives us a little bit of like breathing room. I think that's how I was looking at it. But you really did want to see it as being a situation where we face off on New Year's Day.
I was, you know what? I didn't mind that New Year's Day one. I think it would have been fun because
Mm-hmm.
there is a Premier League game on that day. I think it's Man United. I can't
Mm-hmm.
really remember 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a possibility of us playing it there. In a weird sort of way, I'd rather just get it over and done with instead of waiting
Mm-hmm.
until
I got
February.
you. Understood.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we were sort of all up for it. You know, I was really ready for this derby because of what
Mm-hmm.
they did to us last season.
Mm-hmm.
And when it got postponed, I was like, yo, a little bit disappointed actually that I got postponed because sort of it's just that game last season. I just wanted a little sort of revenge on that game, you know, to get a win there.
Okay. Okay. How about for you, Brian? Are you happy to hear that we got this game postponed, possibly to? It still has to be approved. I know that, but like um postponed to that February 11th date instead of like some of the other dates that were thrown out there in the early January times.
Ideally, I'd want to play it as soon as possible and get the points on the board
Mm-hmm.
and get it back to the same amount of games playing without having that unevenness in the table.
Mm-hmm.
I just that's I it's but that's so far away. Now you're talking about
Two
March.
months. Yeah, close to 2 months. Well, March is when we play them at Anfield. February 11th is when we're supposed to is the date they're throwing out there.
Mm, yeah, I would. Sorry. Yeah. Look, I'd have it out. I'd have it out the way as quickly as possible. Momentum was there, but we can't now fit it in because this is the way things are in England. Hopefully, we will have some kind of a scenario, which is not looking likely, maybe where the cup gives us, other teams have to miss a week or something like that, or it gives us a chance to level it up that way. But I just don't like the idea of constantly always having played one game less than people and always having to kind of mentally bank that 3 points. I'd rather have that 3 points there. But there's nothing we can really do about it now, and I suppose it is then what do you do next? You choose the most sensible time to play it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And what JK was saying there, if you're playing Wolves and then you're playing them, it's not too bad. But then you say that now, and Wolves could be in the form of their life then, or you know, it's hard to predict that far forward.
Mm-hmm.
But just from a mental point of view, I just wanted it done. I just think it's hard to complain because we've had everything go so smoothly for us in terms of, you know, where we are in the league and stuff. And it's a tiny little bit of an inconvenience, but it still kind of sticks in the craw a little bit of just constantly having to say, well, we're this, but we have 3 points, or we have a game in hand, or they're that, but we have a game more than them. You know, you have to constantly be factoring that into it when you're sort of looking at where we are. So just that way.
Got you. Yeah, we've got a bunch of in our head-to-head matchups against Everton in the past. Let's see, 20 matchups. We've won 11. We've drawn 7, and Everton has won 2. So it is a case where we often do get some type of result. It just seems that it kind of is still sitting in our memory banks, I guess, about the fact that they were able to not only beat us, but handily beat us, yes, last year, in a year that was, kind of a impromptu send-off for a beloved coach of ours that, came somewhat out of nowhere. And once the farewell tour began, every game went from 10 to almost 11 in importance and intensity and recognition and attention. So it was certainly something of it all. Rangers are up 1-0 against Spurs. Jeez, okay. Big up Hyler, by the way. Hope that you're well. Hyler, definitely stick around too for some of the updates that I have, because I have some. It's gonna be a cool episode. It's gonna be just like a good 90 minutes. We'll maybe go extra time, but just primarily just gonna get some good vibes and talk about some good things, team talk and the likes. But I have some cool updates on 2 possible promising players that are gonna be joining us as possible Reds at the end of a little bit later on in the show. I know this weekend we do have a situation where we will have to take on Fulham, or Full America, as some people like to call it. And I have been, I think YouTube's gotten my watching pattern down pretty well with the algorithm that they use, in that they every opponent that we have on our schedule, YouTube tends to introduce me to a content creator for that team. Okay. So there was a content creator that I did get to watch. And it was a good episode too, by the way. It was big up to the episode. I'll have to, you have to give me the diligence of pulling up the name again for the actual person. But and he had, or the actual it was a 2-person panel actually. But one of the most notable things I heard them saying, and what was kind of interesting, is that they're not scared of traveling to Liverpool or Anfield and playing us, despite the fact that we are in good form, or at least good form as in with our wins. I know there can be those that will say that last game wasn't exactly, something to write home about, but they made the mention of the fact that they did have a promising showing at Anfield last year. We obviously had the heroics of my guy, as what do they call him, the gum shield warrior, I think that some people call him, at least, when he scored the equalizer, and then when or not the equalizer, but he had a big goal, I believe. I think it was the equalizer, or if not, the goal before the equalizer. And then we had the obviously the goal from Trent Alexander-Arnold to win it in the end of that game, which was something where we were dominant in that game in the very beginning. We tend to like kind of shift into cruise control a little bit too soon, and Fulham definitely hit us, and they hit us hard, and they proceeded to take the lead in that game. And then we battled back and showed our true resilience and had one of the many comeback victories of last year. But what is your thoughts on going into this game against Fulham? Are you excited about the fact that we're going to have, and I will say this too, some great news. Simicast looks to be returning back to the lineup, possibly back to the lineup. Also, Chiesa could be an addition to this lineup. They're all taking part in full training at the AXA training complex, which is certainly promising. There was a lot of like hidden, didn't necessarily know what it was that was really going on with Simicast and his injury, but it's good to see that whatever it was, it seems to be possibly behind him now that he is training. Are you, what are your feelings about going into this fixture on the weekend? We'll start with Brian and then we'll go to JK this time.
Sure, the KJ is asking who it was that was saying all those things. It was Fulham fan channel, but 12 man, just get you the name there in a minute.
Yeah, I'll get the name for you. Yeah.
But he said, they are not afraid to come here and play football, which is exactly why I like playing against Fulham. They, especially under Marco Silva, as a Fulham fan, as a Fulham supporter, are you ever sitting down and when you're looking at the fixtures come out, you're looking at Liverpool and going, oh yeah, going to get that. That's a game we need to win. That's a game we should win. That's a game we have to win. No, of course they don't. They look at all of the teams that they can beat. They probably will beat. They might, but they don't look at going to Anfield and that's a game that we can win. They just want to come here, play as good football as they can, because that's what they're known for in the Silver. This is a free pass for them, unless they go and get bet 10-0, in humiliation. That's right. The only thing, and they don't have, which is what I admire about them. Some teams, they look at a game like Liverpool and they go, oh well, we'll just go there, put 10 men behind the ball, and we'll try and get out of there with something. Fulham, they have a different way of approaching things. You always get a good game of football with Fulham. You always get attacking. You always get corners or incidents. You get chances. Usually get some good players on the pitch for them. So those are the kind of games, yeah. If they turn it on, they can catch you out. With Andres Pereira, these kind of people, the boy last year had great set pieces. It was one of those teams. But we should be beating them 9 times out of 10, and especially when they come out and play. So I look forward to playing Fulham every year. I genuinely do. And especially under Marco Silva. Not that I love playing them because they're too, we beat them easily. It's because they can give you a scare if you're not on your game. But it won't be some boring bullshit, low block, 10 men behind the ball, nonsense like that. It's just going to be a proper game of football, and they approach it the right way. Nobody expects them to go to Anfield and win, so why not try and win? And if you do, then you got a famous victory on your hands. And for some of those players as well, like they always have good techie players. That's a good shop window. Go and play well at Anfield. You want your boss to say, look, go out and do your stuff. You don't want your boss to say, I want you to sit in there and mark Mo Salah, double up. I don't want you crossing the halfway line. Forget about your tricks and flicks this week. You want your boss to come out and say, you're at Anfield now. Go out and show them what you can do out there. And as a young attacking player or something like that. So it's all set up for it. I like it.
Yeah, I put the name of the show. Looks like I'm not certain. I know that you guys know that I at least watched the show Coppish. Big up to Cal, Matt, and Drifty on that show. Good lads, and also definitely good friends of mine. And their show is called Fulhamish, actually, which was very similar to Coppish. That's why I brought up the names of Cal and those guys. but their show is called Fulham-ish. So I guess interesting name. But in the particular one show that I did watch was a short segment. It was hosted by Jack and Aves, I believe his name was, and Aves was a guest. He was he's normally doesn't host the show with them, but he was a guest contributor for that day, and they were both basically saying how the result against Arsenal really gave them an idea that they can compete against pretty much anyone, which is the truth. I mean, I think Fulham is a talented team. I think that on their given day, they can pretty much contend against anyone in the league. They currently sit 10th in the league right now, but there's only basically 2 points separating them from 5th place, and second and 10th place. So obviously a result is what they would be hoping to get in this matchup. What are your thoughts on what the lads at Fulhamish had to say about their them being very optimistic and not intimidated by us at all, really, going into this matchup? It was very interesting to hear some of the takes that they said about how they pointed out some particular players, and I'll go into that after your thoughts, JK. Oh, 1 second with JK. Maybe. All right, I'll bring up the thoughts then while I wait for JK to come back from mute. What I was going to bring up is that they on the show. What was interesting about it is they pinpointed some of the players that they think could have some promising results, but also they pinpointed some players that they thought that they could possibly possibly capitalize results from. And one of the names that they picked out in the list was Robbo, actually. And what's very interesting is the player Robbo, he got man of the match in this previous matchup. Again, it was there's other players that possibly maybe it's the best of a bad bunch, maybe in a game that wasn't exactly scintillating football. But what's interesting, though, is that they were talking about how they thought that they could go at Robbo and actually get some type of result with maybe Adama going at him on that side and testing if Robbo can handle it. It should be an interesting matchup if he has to take on that responsibility. Do you think that it's warranted? Because I think I brought up this against Grizz too. Grizz was on a show, the Anfield Index. He was on the show with Gags, and Grizz were on the show. And I tried to ask him a specific question that kind of didn't really answer the question. But I think Robbo has turned a little bit of a corner in that he has been playing better. And not only has he been playing better, obviously that game against Newcastle was a bad game for, I think, the entire team as a collective. But I think Robbo has turned it to corner. I'll knock on wood just to make sure I don't jinx it for this upcoming game. But I think he has turned a somewhat corner, and he has been a player that has played pretty much every game for us now, and has been someone that we've had to rely on getting full 90s out of in most of them. So, do you think is Robbo a concern, or is Robbo warranted some recognition for his uptick in performances lately?
No, I think when a player 12 knows he's good, like Tsimikas was having a few runs in the team. Even with Slot, Tsimikas was starting a few games, But Robertson now, because he knows Tsimikas is injured, it's only him really. Hence why he might be a little bit relaxed more about that situation. No, he's going to be playing Saturday.
That's a good point. I get your point. Yeah.
And I think with his age and stuff,
Simicast is back with the team though. By the way,
that's cool. Good
Mhm.
to have him there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
just feel Robertson knows he's at that age now where he can't be really worrying if he's going to lose his place. You
Mhm.
know, not just for Saturday. I mean, like definitely he's number 2 left back instead of and Simicast is number 1.
Mhm.
I prefer Robertson because of his brain and the experience he's got compared to Simicast. But Simicast for me can do a job as well.
Mhm.
You know, so for me, I don't mind. We've got 2 good left backs. I would
Mhm.
say that Robertson has got loads of assists as well. Look, his crossing for me, like Robertson's crossing in the game the other day
Mhm.
wasn't really great. I think he needs to improve his crossing. I don't know what's happened to his crossing. Like
Right.
he'll pull a nice one out in the game. He'll do one at least, like a beauty. You know, like it just needs to be like a little head on it. But I think sometimes he gets a lot of crosses, and we seem to be crossing the ball a bit more in games as well. I noticed ever since I started moaning about it about a month ago that we don't cross enough. We seem to be crossing the ball a bit more now anyway as well.
I'm just sorry, I'm just looking for comments. Someone said earlier on that he was training alone.
Simicast.
Yeah, sorry. Someone said Kies and Jota trained with the first team, but Simi was trained on his own. I think it might have been Healer. I can't find it. Anyway, I think that's what he said.
Okay.
What did he
I think
say?
that's what he
Okay.
said.
Let me
The
see.
Simi trained on his own, but Robbo and Chiesa were in full train, or Jota and Chiesa were in full train, but Simi trained on his own. I think that's what he said. It was a
Okay.
human.
Jota has been training with the team, definitely. I did see that. I actually did watch the inside training session. They didn't really show them playing per se, other than I did see Diego, but and I did see Chiesa as well, but I know that it was reported in Liverpool. I think it was Liverpool.com that had an article saying Liverpool have released new training pictures via the club's official website, in which Diego Jota, Federico Chiesa, and Costa Simicast are all seen taking part in full training at the AXA training complex. That was the quote. So
That's good news because we're gonna have a lot of games over Christmas time.
mhm.
And even if these guys don't play this weekend, we know they're on the brink of starting playing, so they'll have a little sort of even a little longer rest. Even if we gave Jota a little few minutes, you know, Harvey Elliott got minutes the other day in the Champions League game, so it was good to see that him and Alisson both came back into the team.
Yeah. Well, Tordo did have a great assist, by the way, to Harvey in that training session. Right at the end, he scored a great goal, actually. Great looking goal. I also thought it was funny. Yeah, KJ just brought up I brought up a funny little interaction. I don't know if you guys saw the clip, but Mo was like he saw Chiesa. They're sitting at that little coffee bar that they have in there in the training session, training facility. And Mo was like, "Hey, I'll make dinner." And Chiesa just looked back and said, "No, I'll make dinner." It's not easy to get Italian. An Italian loves to make his food. When it comes to food, they're very passionate about their foods.
Yeah, it was Chiesa. Yeah, I've seen that today, bro. A little clip of that. Like, the way he went over to Salah, it was like Salah was like the mafia boss. Like,
yeah. Just sitting there with this espresso or something like that.
In the coffee lounge, man. That's too funny. I couldn't stop laughing, man.
Yeah, that was good. Tyler asks, "What are the expectations from our fullbacks this our fullbacks this season? Remember all the goal contributions from our fullbacks some years ago."
Keep it rolling.
I would say, go ahead, Brian. Or
no, I was going to say keep it rolling because look, the only problem we have is Trent signing a contract. But other than that, Trent got like 2 assists in like 5 minutes the other day. You know what I mean? So for me, Trent needs to carry on doing that. Forget Madrid. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But win us the league title before you go. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and I think the Trent news changes every day, like the weather. You know, 1 minute he's signing, like people making thumbnails up with Trent dreaming about Madrid and all this. Like, how the hell do you bloody know? You know? Oh,
Yeah.
no, I was like, Trent dreaming about Madrid. How the fuck? Are you a mind reader or something? Are you sleeping in the same bedroom? Too funny, bro. So for me, like our fullbacks need to just like for me, cross the ball into the box. That's what I want for my fullbacks to do. Yeah, defend. That's normal. But
You want
get
to
some
talk
good
about?
crosses in.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think the biggest and most important thing I'd like to see is possibly getting some more through balls to our forwards and seeing about them trying to get make some runs. You know, I know that we love seeing the diagonals and the switching of fields and seeing the crosses, but I'd also like to see us get some through balls to our forwards, whether it's Diego, whether it's Nunez, or even whether it's Lucho. I'd like to see them try to keep the back line of our oppositions honest, in that they don't think that we're always going to just either cross or do diagonals. How about for you, Brian? You have an answer for Hyler's question?
Well, the expectation. What's the thing? Whose expectations? My expectations lower than what you're talking about. If he's referring to, like Hyler was saying, remember all those goal contributions. Was it he said that? Remember all those goal contributions from our fullbacks some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My expectations will be set very differently this year. Hope the number one will be to be part of the league's best defense. That'll be the number one, and go from there. But I don't expect him to start putting up those kind of numbers like peak Robbo under Jurgen Klopp, because we couldn't be. You know, I know Slot likes to talk about how, you know, he what he does and what Klopp does very similar. Not at all, really. Not to that period of Klopp. Maybe later years Klopp, but not to that period at all. So I just think, maybe to play as much more kind of as a part of a unit, and not to be, they won't be as relied on maybe as much. But I'd like to see them. I'd like to see us have the best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've done that for a while, and I think that would show for the whole kind of the Trent can't defend kind of thing. We know what he can do going forward. We know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. There's no gaps in our knowledge there. You know, so now if he can be part of a title-winning defense that's, record clean sheets, or, record undefeated, that kind of stuff, that would be another feather in his cap. So, like maybe I am a defender as well. You know, like he said at the start of the season, he said something like that, didn't he? He wants to be the best defender in the world. Yeah, go with that. You know, that'd be my expectation. And Robbo, my expectation for Robbo is to lead. Actually, I think Robbo is a leader out there, and I think we're going to need leaders this year, because we're in a serious title race, and we're in the hunt for 2 big trophies. So I think Robbo is going to be looking around, looking for cracks, and looking for people who might be, slacking off or whatever. That's what I expect Robbo to do as well.
Yeah.
To be a total leader out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that it was asked about Anthony Robinson, or as his friends and family call him, Jedi. He is about to get involved in a possible deal with us, and that's what KJ's saying, at least, or that the rumors are true about the summer. $40 million for Anthony Robinson, 27 years old, a little bit outside of that target range where Liverpool like to position their players. what do you find as being the likelihood of that deal going through? 40 million for this left back. Kirkez has been a name that's been out there. There's been I know there was for a while it was Eight Nori as well. It was a name that was floated out there as being a possible addition. And what do you think that means about the future of either of the left backs that we have currently? Let's start with JK this time on that question, and then we'll go to Brian.
Like for me, I think this could be Robertson's last season with us. I think, I don't know, if not this season, next season, definitely. But maybe I think it will be this season his last. Just got a funny feeling about that. Like, when you look at these left backs that are getting mentioned, are they as good as Robertson was when he was like on top of his game, Robertson? Like, even now, Robertson's got the most, like, he's second in the most assists as a defender in the Premier League history. Come on. He was the leader of it a few before Trent started getting them again. That's how good Robertson was, you know. So, but for me, I like the guy from Bournemouth. If I have to choose from one, because like he gets assists as well, and he looks a little bit of a good player. I don't mind him, but like it's all about the price. And the guy from Fulham you was talking about, the American guy, also a good little player. But it's all about the price with our club, I think. And also, even if it wasn't about the price, I don't want to overspend on a left back. It's weird, but if you understand my point. But I tell you the truth, my number one guy, who it is, like I'm thinking, if we get him, yeah, with Trent on the other side and him on the left side, if that's possible. Davies from Bayern Munich.
Okay.
He's the guy.
Okay.
He's for me the best. Like he's the best left back.
Okay.
Athletic, fast, knows how to attack really well. You know, good little player. Him. He can go on a free. Hope he don't end up at Real Madrid. If we go for him, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Looks like Robert said 27. That's too old. KJ saying, give me Robbo and Robinson Senior, Junior, and Junior as left backs. And that Kirkez is United bound, possibly trying to. It would not be that surprising to see Manchester United trying to get involved in a name that is connected to us that we are interested in. They seem to look at our. They seem to be the person in class that doesn't really come with any idea as to what the test is about, but then wants to try to take a peek at his neighbor's answers before trying to get their own, just rather than try to come up with their own. So, Brian, how are your thoughts on that?
It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I would be surprised if he did make a deal for Robinson.
Yeah.
KJ saying his dad has been talking. That's, you know, I'm a bit wary about that. Kirkez would sound a lot more like our kind of player, but I'd be with JK as well. I'd like us if we had an Andrew Robertson and an Alphonso Davies. I'd like that. I wouldn't. Alphonso Davies to me is someone who I'm not sure about that guy. I don't know how long he'd stick around. I don't know if he'd be fully bought into the. I'm honestly, maybe I could be harsh on the guy, but he just seems like a tiny bit of a prima donna, maybe, and wanted the whole Real Madrid thing. So I'd like to have a solid personality there as well. But I don't really know. The left back one is difficult, but I think next summer. I think there will be a bit of a refresh, definitely. If it isn't one of our left backs, it'll be both of them. Robbo might. JK said he has a feeling, because that's sometimes the way it goes. Robbo might say, yeah, you know, I want to go. I've got an offer for 3 years to go and play in Spain or something nice like that. He wants to do that. Cool. Simicas, again, is someone that we can probably, good player, but we could probably just, change it up, something different there.
Mhm.
A lot of money, I know, and a lot of transfers, but yeah, I think something will be done there. Yeah, I wouldn't like us to lose Robbo though at all. I just like to have him for another 2 years and let him kind of see how things, have that real solid guy there, someone that's been there, done it all, seen it all. And hopefully you bring in the young, like to me, the kind of Robbo and Carquez one sounds about perfect. An older guy and the younger guy, and then you can. So it's hard though.
Kind of
They
platoon
could pull a
them,
name.
make their
Yeah, they could
platoon.
pull a name out of the hat that we've never heard of as well. We could be one
Yeah,
in the summer. We could be talking about this guy that we all pretended we've known for a year that we were never even talking about today. We could talk in it in 3 months. Some guy from Germany or some other new name. But I'll be interested. I'll have a look at that one the KJ saying about Carquez to United and see what's going on there. See how much has been said about that.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd be interested too about that as well. There's certainly, it's interesting that there's certainly a interest in multiple positions on the pitch for us to get either reinforcements, to get possibly new additions in the sense of new starters as well for those roles. But yeah, I was seeing how the Red Armchair supporter asked me about how Robinson or Jedi is rated in the States, and he's highly rated. He's actually he's highly rated to the point where he's certainly a leader on the team. He's also rated highly enough that he's known to be one of the best players on our team. If it wasn't for the fact of his teammate Tim Ream is on the squad, he would probably be even a more highly coveted leader on the team. Tim Ream is certainly, obviously a little bit of a senior statesman when it comes for that case, but he is definitely appreciated in the sense of that back line is certainly held together by the fact that he is available for it. And I think that one thing I will say about Jedi's game that I'm so proud and glad to see that he's actually developing, hopefully not so much for this upcoming game, but is his ability to cross the ball. One of the things that people were very critical of him was his ability, certainly his ability to have pace, his ability to not be bullied, from the ball, and also his ability to handle defensive measures. But also they would critique his ability to possibly cross the ball. It's great that you can bring the ball down the wing, but now can you either get it into a difficult or a promising position for our forwards and the likes? And he's really developed that game really well, actually. So that's one thing that I do commend him on with his game. But it should be good to see that we have some players back that will be joining us. I mean, again, Diego is certainly someone that a lot of people are looking to see back in the fold. And also, and there's also been talks about Connor Bradley and even Ibu, even Kanate having their return to the team slightly adjusted to possibly being an even earlier date, which is good to see as well, I think. Because I don't know if you necessarily want to rush them back, especially Ibu as well. But considering his track record, but what do you have the same feelings about that too? About that you probably will be a little bit more tentative the way that we didn't rush back, for instance, Ali, we probably would utilize the same precautions with Ibu and even Connor.
Yeah, because I think like rushing players back doesn't do no one a favor, not the player, not the fans, not the club. So what's going to happen is going to end up getting injured again, or reoccurrence of the same issue he had that made him get on the sidelines. But for me, I like the way we sort of give them time. I think Jota, what it is, our squad is not big, but our squad is good. Hence why, like seeing Allison and Elliot come back into it now was a good thing. Just for the squad, just to have them two back, it was a good thing the other day. I think Allison, for me, probably man of the match. The amount of saves he did in that game, but I think Jota. I don't think he'll be. Do you reckon he's fit enough to get minutes against Fulham? Is he? Jota.
Is Diego fit? He's fit, but I don't believe he's. I don't think that, again, with Diego, the way that we tempered his reassertion into the lineup, I think we'll do the same as well. I wouldn't want to see him start in this matchup.
No.
Against Fulham, and despite what people are pining for, but I want to see him fully fit, give him possibly some minutes, maybe get 15, 20 minutes maybe in this upcoming matchup if it's warranted. And then we do have the luxury of that Southampton matchup coming up against a team that we should still be able to handle, even though we'll most likely come into that game with a slightly adjusted, rotated squad. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, that's for me a game where Jota, Alisson, what's his name? Well, Jota, Alisson. Kanate, you were saying as well? Harvey Elliott.
No.
They got opportunities.
No. Bradley and Kanate. I just said they were looked at as being returning later
in December
in the calendar, and now their dates have been they've been making good progress in their rehab, and they could return at an earlier date. That's my point. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But I would start Jota, Harvey Elliott, and Alisson in that game against Southampton. The thing is, Saturday, the question is, who do we put in goal? That's like the $1 million question right now. That's the only sort of question we have for the Saturday's team. We know Darwin will play maybe up front, but other than that, it's just the goalkeepers.
How about for you, Brian?
Oh, interesting. Case by case basis. If you have a centre half that's out, like number one, they don't play unless they're fit. Pretty much, if they're on the bench, then they passed all the checks to get to the bench. So it's not like a manager saying, "Hey, look, how do you feel?" And the player's like, "Oh, I feel good. Yeah, I'm cool. Don't worry." Well, the player knows he's not fit. No, you can't really do that anymore. So if you've got someone that can play, you don't really have to rush someone back. But if you've got someone that's out and the guy that's taking their position isn't a natural there and he's being played out of position, then that guy, maybe you bring him back in a bit early, definitely on a case by case. But if you're lucky like we are, you have one like Alisson and Kelleher, where Kelleher was playing so well, you could take that extra time. But if Gomez picked up a knock, and we'd be short again, but you don't rush them back, no. But this is the new medical staff that's in there now. They seem to be doing a good job in terms of it's prevention rather than cure. Really, they've been stopping injuries happen rather than treating them. Only Ali, and that's recurring from last season. And Trent that did his hamstring. There's most others have been impacts, unlucky injuries. Jota, Konate, collisions, bad tackles, heavy tackles. So yeah, it just depends on how badly we need that guy. It's sort of like the manager might be going, "Come on, tell me, is he ready to play?" The medical staff would be, well, I suppose it might depend on how badly you need him. That kind of thing. But right now we're all right. I wouldn't just in terms of the goalkeeping for Saturday, I don't think it's any question at all. I don't think there is a question for me, Jake. I think it's on Alisson's back now. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Gotta make my adjustment to my fantasy team. Trust me on that one.
But respect to Kelleher, doing a good job. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phenomenal job.
Absolutely. It's kind of silly. I mean, like that's
He's the main reason why we're first.
Yeah. That's why it's like kind of silly the way that, you know, some of the toxicity has been formulating on some of the other channels. In the notification, I did put something of a prerequisite that this is a safe place, and also the fact that, you know, I do recognize that a lot of other channels are starting to possibly acknowledge that we are dangerously looking like AFC rather than LFC. And when it comes to our fan base and our interactions on the forums and the platforms that we utilize, because there's certainly been some out there that were saying there was a comment out there. There's a couple comments out there. Actually, I just saw it on the Anfield Index because Grizz brought it up about people that had approached him and saying that, oh, well, if Ali was in that Newcastle game, we would have won that game. And and I'm just like, how you can just focus on one incident where a player has a momentary lapse, you know, and not acknowledge the fact that we wouldn't even be remotely close to holding down the first spot, you know, the first tier rung in the Premier League right now, or even possibly in the Champions League, if it wasn't for the exceptional play of Kelleher. And I mean, that's why sometimes it's so interesting that, like, you could do 9 out of 10, and yet the most loudest remarks and the most common remarks have to be the 1 out of 10 times that you might not have met the bar, you know. And that's a shame. That's certainly a shame. So I would definitely like to say this is JK did. Big up to Kelleher. You are greatly appreciated, and the fact that you know, there's still I think, you know, we're still going to need the services of Kelleher too. I think he'll start Southampton game still. I mean, Fulham, yes, but I think that you'll see Kelleher start the Southampton game, in my opinion.
You know what it is as well, 12, is that your second goalkeeper back in the days was probably a painter decorator in his spare time and played second reserve goalkeeper for a club. Mm-hmm. It was that, like, it weren't like he had to be top notch. He just needed, if need be, you know, like, yeah, he'll probably could do a job. But what it is now, with the way injuries happen and this, that, and the other, these number twos have to be as good as number ones.
They do.
And I think Kelleher, it could have gone really bad for us. Imagine Kelleher wasn't, because he made them comments, Kelleher,
right,
about leaving the club because we bought that other goalkeeper and stuff. Imagine he just had a strop on and thought, you know what, I don't care. I ain't going to play my best. Like, stuff like this.
I mean, he's been doing that. He's been already doing that. He'd made those assertions even, you know, previous to us going out and getting Mamar. That's really.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's been. I mean, it had already been out there that he was interested in getting first team. You know, a first team run. Big up, Max. Good to see you. Good to see you, Max.
My new name is Lee.
Lee's not here,
he's in a top job. You can't complain.
No,
That's
you can't.
a Cheech and Chong reference for anybody out there.
Oh, Cheech and Chong reference? I didn't hear it. Yeah. Okay.
Lee's not here, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Oh, man. I said that I was going to mention some players that are on the radar from the youth academy likes. So we're talking about some players, talking about Connor Bradley earlier, and some other players as well. Like I know someone in the chat, I believe it was Hylor, was mentioning about Trey Neone practicing pretty exclusively with the senior team more often than not. And it's good because, you know, we've obviously seen Harvey Elliott, and we've seen Ben Doak, get some well noted and well deserved attention at the senior level. Trey Neone, like I spoke on earlier, Kumas, Jayden Dans, obviously Bobby Clark is no longer with us, but obviously Bobby Clark as well. McConnell has gotten runs with the senior team. We've had a lot of players get some runs with the senior team, and I think it's warranted, and I think it's definitely necessary to do, because it allows for you to get some type of rotation. It allows for you to provide some air of a pathway towards the senior team, and it also allows for these senior players to develop along with these players in getting the leadership or just getting the guidance from these players that can certainly help their development in its own right. Manchester City, the Manchester City youngster Lucas Clark made the announcement that he is going to be switching to from red to blue, from blue to red, excuse me. And that's something that is good to hear, in that he's a talented player and someone that we're looking forward to seeing be able to improve our team. But according to recent reports, Liverpool are interested in a Sunderland 17-year-old player. He's a forward named another Trey. He apparently liked Treys. And his name is Trey Ogunsuyi. Ogunsuyi. It's spelled Ogunsuyi. He is a promising youth player who's played in England over the past few years, hoping that the deal will end up getting completed. He's 17 years old. Again, he's a forward from Sunderland. A lot of the comparisons have been made to Jayden Dans as his ability to be as a promising youth player. He is playing in England, but he is not English player. He is a Belgian under 19 international. He has been warranted as being one of the most promising attackers in youth football at the moment. 6'2" forward, and is a little bit of a goal scoring machine currently for Sunderland and their under 21s, as he has 14 goals so far to his name this season. He scored against Manchester United under 21s, had a brace actually for them, braced against them, I should say, and also scored against Manchester City's under 21s, and even scored against Liverpool's under 18s. I'm not certain if that's where we kind of got put him on the radar for us or not, but he's also netted in other games as well, which is kind of promising. It's a name that I'm going to now hopefully hear more about. There's also a player that I did see that is interesting to hear, and that is he is a player that plays for River Plate. That's a team in Argentina. Obviously, that's one of the juggernauts in Argentina, by the way, too.
Right, top player. Who are you going to say?
Oh, wait. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Who do you think I'm going to say? Franco? Is his first name?
Franco. Yeah, Franco.
Yeah.
What a player, bro. He's 17 and he's top draw, man. He looks real good.
Yeah.
Franco.
Okay. That's cool. It's good to hear
Must
that you know about him too. Yeah. Franco Mastantonio, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing for Argentina's, obviously, I said River Plate. Real Madrid has had him on their radar. Obviously, whenever you have a team like Real Madrid interested in your services, obviously it means that you are someone that is good, and it also is a certain nod if we are interested in your services. I'd like to make sure that is underlined in bold print as well. So he's a 17-year-old attacking midfielder, plays as a as a 10 currently, but he can play all across the midfield. He has 3 goals and an assist each for from 40 senior appearances for River Plate. That's pretty notable considering that he is only 17 years old. Okay. I know that Barcelona have been watching him as well. So it could be a little bit of tough sledding to get him through the door. But the promising thing about this report is that Liverpool is reportedly in the lead to acquire the services of the young player. That's
Really?
being reported by by Mundo Deportivo has reported that Liverpool have taken the lead in the race to secure his signature. So it's not going to be cheap, by the way. It's not going to be cheap. That's why it's so interesting when you hear people attach the numbers that are associated to the players that we get in through the door. You know, Liverpool could pay reportedly around 45 million for the release clause that is embedded in his contract. But the figure could rise to as high as 50 million in the final weeks of the January transfer window. So it is something.
If you got him, wow, what a little player.
Yeah.
What a little player. Yeah,
This
I've
is
seen
a
a little clip of him.
Yeah.
I just seen like a little clip of him where he took about 3 guys on, and the way he kept hold of the ball, he was falling over, got back up, and I was like, yo, at his age doing that.
He's a little bit of a baller. Yeah.
He's a little baller, bro.
Yeah, a little baller. Shot caller.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it could be something that could be an interesting addition for us. I like the fact that we're definitely utilizing the youth academy as a means of either securing funds to go out and possibly acquire new players, or utilize for other resources when it comes to whatever we need it for, but also possibly in establishing some future players for our team. And this young lad definitely looks like it's going to be something. Yes, as Bernie just said, his name is Franco Mastantonio. And he is a 17-year-old for River Plate. And that's being reported by a relatively reliable source, and it's Mundo Deportivo. That's the publication that's reporting that Liverpool have taken the lead. He plays as an attacking midfielder, by the way. An attacking midfielder is what his role is. So very promising, very promising. Very, very promising. And I guess what we can say is Liverpool have been it has been reported that Liverpool have been able to know what they will receive from qualifying for the second round of this UEFA Champions League. And it's been seen in official documents on the UEFA website, by the way, that Liverpool have secured themselves a cash prize of £9.1 million after qualifying for the round of 16. It's kind of interesting because what they've done is now they've put out there what it's going to be. 9.1 million pounds is what you qualify for if you make the round of 16. 10.3 million is what you qualify for if you reach the quarterfinal. The semifinal gets you 12.4 million, and the final will secure you 15. Just making the final will secure you another 15.3. And then if you win the final, you'll get another 5.4 on top of that. So hopefully we can make it all the way to the end of the competition and win the final, of course. But it is good to hear that we can possibly look at some extra money being put into the coffers to go and get some of these players that some people are coveting and very much wanting to see. Do you guys have anything that you wanted to put into the conversation that I haven't brought up already?
Nolante, we haven't heard from Nolante yet at all. So, and just congratulations.
Oh, I didn't see Nolante be added. My fault. Nolante, big up, by the way.
Personality.
Yeah, big up, boys, as always. Big up the chat, as always. Yeah, man, I've been actually will be scouting football-wise in terms of the Europa League games. I watched the Rangers Tottenham game, and Tottenham were very, very lucky to get away with the draw. I watched the Ajax game actually, and yeah, Henderson, he's shot, man. He needs to retire.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I know he's getting on, but it's just like I said, he's one of them ones. He's had these prime peak years with us, and he's just again, he's not the same. Saw Man United again, and it's just funny, man. I mean, they won tonight, but boy, were they lucky again. But boy, they are really. And I mean, it's funny, a lot of them talk about hammering ball, but they have got a long way to go. Anyone think, I don't care if it takes 2-3 years, mate. Yeah, I'll put my mortgage on. He's not winning the league. I don't care how long he's at this club.
Wow,
that's for sure. So yeah, some interesting Europa League game tonight. So yeah, man. So very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Get some of those. I appreciate you bringing up some of those results. I was just looking at how much you could look to add in winnings. If you were to win the entire Champions League, you can end up with 52.5 million. Actually, 52.5 million for winning the Champions League. If you make it all the way through and win it, you would make 47.1 for just making the finals. So I know it's not our money. It's not we don't get to dictate where it goes or how it's spent. I'm sure a lot of people have some ideas how it should be spent, but I'm just putting that number out there. It's kind of interesting.
There's a reason everyone wants to be in this thing.
Yeah.
It's always been a cash cow. It's
Yeah.
always been a cash cow. It's always been huge. It's always been around. It might be 50 this year, but it's always been the equivalent of whatever 50 was 10 years ago. It's always been for some
I thought
clubs.
it was more. I thought it was a little bit more last year, but
last year might have been highly unlikely. TV money, maybe prize money, but it's diluted a little bit more this year. But it's always been this is the reason why these people want to be in it. Every time they play, every time they're on TV, like you get £1 million basically just for playing a game.
Yeah.
You just get, I think it's like 1 point every time you type this 1.2 million just for playing a game. So for teams like Zagreb and Sparta Prague and just even that 3 or 4 million, and now it's what 8 million, about 7 million. Probably,
I thought it was something you get the next. You there's like they try to make it where they put an incentive to go out and win the game as opposed to go out and just play the game.
Oh yeah, if you win game, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all based. Look, I mean, the prize money is by the by. For us, we get the big trophy. The money gets added up at the end of the year, all goes into the pot. And yeah, a good run in the Champions League every single year. That's what all these clubs dream of. They all dream of it. That gives you that extra 30 million quid that you can. I mean, 30 million quid doesn't really sound like a lot these days, does it? When you talk about what would 30 million quid buy you? What would 30 million quid buy you? What kind of player you'd get
It doesn't even get you a
good midfielder.
It won't even afford you a 17-year-old.
Well, I'm just looking at this guy, Franco Mastantuano. Yeah, 41 appearances in his whole career. 41 senior appearances.
At 17.
And you're worth 45 million.
Yeah, it's mad.
Basically, you got one season of games as a 17.
Yeah, potential, isn't it?
45 million. He must be very, very good if we're considering doing that after one season.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
He must be very, very good. Now, like transfer market, I know like they go low, but they haven't valued at a much more reasonable 13 million. But obviously, he's not one of those guys. He's got a release clause, I suppose,
yeah.
or
His release
something like
cost is
that.
like 40 some million or something,
Yeah,
40 something million. It was 45 million, but that's $45 million. So it's going to be a little bit less, obviously in pounds. But yeah,
yeah. It's a big. It's a. It's not a statement of intent, but a measure of trust, really. But you can never know. Bringing a 17-year-old from Argentina who's never left the country or never played outside the league, let alone lived outside of his own country, that's the kind of guy you're going to have to give him at least, a year and a half to just get used to everything, hopefully.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
those are the kind of moves people have been crying out for us to make, is to go into that South American market and to identify young talent.
Yeah,
I always agreed with that, but I always said at the same time, if we didn't have the right scouting network there, if we didn't have the right connections there, if we
35
didn't,
million. Yeah.
we shouldn't really be trying to get involved in it,
Mhm.
unless we know exactly what we're doing. And if we had the right people there now, like, it's not as simple as, oh, Brighton do it, why can't we? Well,
Right.
like I always said, if we turned around like 3 years ago and said, oh yeah, we bought our Fabinho replacement, and people are like, who is it? It's like, oh, it's a guy called Saicedo from freaking Venezuela or wherever he came from, wherever they bought him from,
Mhm.
and he only cost 2 million. People would be going nuts.
Yeah.
People would be going, are you saying that's it? That's all we're doing? But then 2 years later, when Saicedo goes to Chelsea for 100 million, people are saying, oh, why didn't we just get him when Brighton did?
Mhm.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
have to kind of let the smaller clubs take a gamble and see how it works out. But if we've got the
Yeah.
right kind
Yeah.
of connections there, and we know for a fact that
And-
these
Mhm.
guys are good enough, then happy to see it. I'm happy to see us bringing in like an Argentinian number 10. Who doesn't want to see that?
it takes a little bit of it takes some research, obviously, and to find about if the player has the right temperament and the likes to even, possibly even maturity to make that kind of a move. It's not always the case. I mean, just because he's talented on the football pitch doesn't mean that he's developed mentally and is adjusted to be able to take on, what you're going to have to do, what you're going to have to deal with. Obviously, uh, a different country, possibly a different language, taking on different culture aspects, having to deal with criticism of different bands and the likes. You have to deal with all those different things, and that's not always the case. I was looking at someone brought up on one of the shows I was watching. They brought up, for instance, we should go for the Colombian that plays for Villa. The he plays. He's a
John Duran.
Yes. And you go and you say, absolute, very talented player, but you see the fact that I've seen clips, I've seen articles, or I've seen journalists and pundits talk about through interviews about sometimes the dicey relationship that he has with his coach, and sometimes the headache he can be when it comes to
He's a firebrand.
what's that?
He's a firebrand. I heard. Yeah, he's a spicy. He's a spicy character.
Yeah. And
They
it's like,
very nearly sold him to Chelsea as well. Don't forget, they very, very nearly sold him to Chelsea. It was just a problem with someone going the other way, I think, or them not selling someone. He came very, very close to joining Chelsea.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just one of those guys. Yeah, you can understand people watching highlights. Every time he plays, he comes on, he scores a worldie. That's what it looks like if you just watch highlights.
Yeah.
You don't notice he never really starts games. But I think he's scored at least 3 goals this season from outside the box. Like, he's just kind of got a bit about him. And if that was all you saw, and see, well, he's doing that in the Premier League. He's playing for Villa. We could get a guy from Villa. But yeah, you'd have to look at it a bit more. He doesn't start him. He rarely starts him. He was happy to sell him by the looks of it. So, JK, I know it's not JK's exactly his manner, but it's close to your part of the world in Brum. Have you heard much about this Sean Duran guy or around Birmingham? Is he known for being a bit of a character or?
I haven't really heard nothing, but I know he can score goals. Did you see his goal the other day? What a goal!
Yeah.
That's what I'm
He's a
saying.
goal scorer, bro.
If you just looked, if
Yeah,
all he saw was that, you'd be like,
his goal
"Who's this
rate,
guy?"
his goal rate is pretty impressive. I think it's
Pretty
something.
impressive.
He's got like a bag of goals in just a short amount of playing time when it comes to it, because he doesn't start for Villa
Yeah,
really.
never starts the guy.
Yeah.
But he has in the recent times, hence why Watkins isn't looking as good as he was last season. For like, he's sort of upset.
Has he
Watkins'
started him in the
game.
league recently?
He has, I think. He has. I'm sure he
Yeah, I'll
started.
check for you. I'll check for you.
You have a quick check. He has started him in a few games, and I think it's sort of. I'm not sure how many goals Watkins has got this season, but
Not much. He's not doing brilliantly.
yeah.
I mean, he started slow last year and picked up, but it's nearly Christmas now, so.
So let's see if he started that game. He didn't start against Leipzig. That I think he scored in that game, but he didn't start in that game. Against Southampton, he started against Southampton. That was league. In Brentford, he didn't start. Watkins started. In Chelsea matchup, he didn't start. So he started against Southampton, but he didn't start those games. Let's see if he started against Juventus, actually. No, he hasn't. He, as of late, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 previous games, the only game he started was against Southampton. But he's been very, very good against the bench.
Yeah, but look at the minutes he gets, bro. He gets at least 25 minutes when he comes on. He comes on pretty early. Yeah. He didn't come on for like 5 minutes and that. He comes on like around the 60th minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Watkins knows he's only going to get 60 minutes. So it might have upset his game, I always believe no top players like Salah. Salah knows he's going to end up probably getting 90 minutes every game. And when he knows that, he's going to play his best football. But when you're a player, you're going to get brought off maybe even at like 5-10 minutes into the second half. Your game don't sort of plan out the way you really want it to. Why? You got that sort of that depending on your shoulders. If I don't like do anything in the next 2-3 minutes, I'm going to get brought off. So hence, and then you try too hard and you mess it up.
Right.
Players need 90 minutes sometimes. I always say, I think you can see with Slot this year, he makes subs and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe to look after the players, like Trent, for example, coming off quite a
lot.
Oh,
absolutely.
And that's just to look after him. I believe that. But for me, some players need 90 minutes. We were talking about Darwin earlier. Was it Brian? I think Brian was saying it.
I know that I do make. I don't think it wasn't I that said it, but I definitely made the point in past that I prefer to see someone get the start so that they get their rhythm, as opposed to trying to find their some players aren't really that great at finding that, what I said before, rhythm or that pace that they need to kind of factor into the game immediately if they're substituted as like a super sub, quote unquote.
But do you remember in the Klopp era where Robertson knew who was going to play most of the games? Trent did, Virgil did, Gomez, another story, but Alisson did. And then the midfield, Henderson, up top, Bobby, Mane, and Salah. Them three knew up top they're playing every game, and Bobby stay on for most of the game. Hence why all three were really, really good.
Let's see if I can get this guy right here. This guy right here. That guy right there. You're talking about Bobby. You said Bobby. So
Yeah, that guy there.
that guy right there.
I tell you the truth, I think Bobby is probably if I have a top 10 of Liverpool favorite players, he's in there.
Oh, he's definitely
He's definitely in there. Like
he's
he's probably top 5. Like he's one of my favorite players. Like what a player! Him and
his
Suarez.
smile alone is probably one of the top players. He'd have his own slot in the top 10. Bobby Smile.
Bobby Smiles. You know, if he was a street guy, his name would be Bobby Smiles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, this is Bobby. Ooh, Bobby Smiles.
Bobby Smiles. Bobby Smiley Face. But yeah. Nalante, you're I know you're on mute, but did you have anything to add to what we were just saying? Oh, let's see. We'll see. He might be predisposed at the moment. Okay, he's with us now. We were just talking about just about players in general having the right mindset. Just because sometimes they are talented players, it doesn't always equate to them being valuable pieces for us, because they do still have to fit within the team constructs of the team. And I think that you don't want to ever upset the unity and, the balance in a team with some head cases. So, and I was referring to Jean Duran.
Good stat. He 23 matches, 10 goals. So one in every 2.3 games, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that number was. It was like something like a little bit under 800 minutes, and he's gotten 10 goals. That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, sometimes you were saying about the management thing. He doesn't necessarily go up Emre, but again, different personalities clash. He used to say if he's under our team slot, he'll get the best out of him. You might like the manager. It really depends.
Mm-hmm.
Some players they just need different. They just gel with different coaches. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Unless your name is that waste of space, Joey Barton or Mario Balotelli, then yeah, that's a different matter altogether.
Oh, don't throw Super Mario under the bus.
Oh, some of the best players of all time have been total head cases. Like some of the best players of all time have been really difficult characters to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's still
so it's hard to come to, and like you say, Nalante, they'll go and they'll play for one guy, and they're just this ain't going to work. And then they go to someone else, and they just go, that coach knew exactly what to say to me, and he went out and he scored 40 goals. It definitely, when it comes down to that kind of fiery character, if someone like Emre, you can imagine someone like Emre being quite stern and quite standoffish. He had kind of very headmastery kind of, kind of like Rafa Benitez kind of vibes. Definitely not a Klopp arm around the shoulder, hugs and smiles kind of guy. So maybe Duran under something like that. Yeah. Is Arne Slot a hugs and smiles guy? I don't know. But he's not the kind of the other extreme either. I think he's probably a good laugh. But a serious coach. But yeah, he's not Klopp. We all know he's not Klopp. Nobody would expect him to be that. But yeah, I think you're 100% right. And that comes down to the character clashes, really, sometimes as much as anything.
Games that
Romario, Stoichkov, all these guys are all head cases.
Oh yeah, exactly, bro. Well. Look, and they're both. No, hold on. No, Romario didn't win Ballon d'Or, did he? I don't think he did.
No,
he didn't. Yeah, well, he's up there anyway. But Stoichkov did. But yeah, two greatest strikers of all time, both of them.
Yeah, total head cases. But yeah. It just shows that there are some strikers out there. I don't know. What would we say? Like this John Duran guy, he's more of a kind of a... He's not a Bobby, right? He's not a Harry Kane.
No.
Is he like a 9.5? He's not an out-and-out number 9, really, is he? Just interesting. But I haven't seen a lot. If anybody does, no, I'm slightly intrigued by this guy since he popped up and scored potentially a Puskas winner,
Yeah. Well, from what our games I watched, I say he's a 9, but he's just a live wire. He's like deadly around the edges. he presses, but then boy, he can shoot. So that's that's the way I see with him. He's a 9.
Yeah,
You
he knows
could
how to
say
shoot. Yeah.
he knows he shoot 9.5. Yeah, but he's just deadly. Give him a chance, and he'll get a goal. He'll get a goal. He's someone. If you play him, he'll create. I wouldn't say create something. Well, I guess you could say create something that I know, but he'll give you something. He'll give you something. That's for sure.
I'm
Like
just
I
waiting
said,
for Chris
Watkins.
Angel to pop up. I'm just waiting for Chris Angel to pop up here.
There you
Just
go.
That Chris Angel, he's a scaredy cat anyway. Mr. Angel, yeah. He's too busy doing some cocaine.
oh,
Angel, he's scared, Doesn't want to mention his fellow compadres, Mr. Angel. Wherever you're hiding, Mr. Angel, if you do watch this, which I'm sure you won't, about the last comment. But I think with Duran, the thing is, Watkins, he's been okayish, but again, right now, Duran just, for me, opinion, deserves to start with him. Watkins is just having a little bit of lack of form, but I think what Emery should do, which again, none of our business really, he should play both of them together.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, be good. Yeah,
Be definitely interesting to see. I know that currently in Europa, as you were speaking on earlier, we did see some of the more notable games that had results. You said Manchester United got the 2-1 victory. Maybe not necessarily a resounding victory, nor a something that was showing their promise, but 2-1 victory all the same. AZ got a draw. USG won their matchup. PAOK, the Greek team, got a 5-0 win in their game. Roma got a 3-0 win in theirs. And Real Sociedad, with the player that is on at least on some people's radars, for our team and others, got a 3-0 win in their matchup. Let's see. And Porto got a 2-0 win. Lyon got a 3-2 win over Frankfurt. That was actually probably a good game. And Rangers hosted Spurs and got a 1-1 draw today. So those are some of the scores. We have some highlights to be assured of this weekend, hopefully more so on our part than our opposition. So it should be a good weekend. We're already at the 90-minute mark. I said it was going to be around 90 minutes, get a full matchup, get a little bit of the extra time in for today because I know we started late. But definitely appreciate the fact that you guys have your notification bell on, because I noticed that we went live and everyone started to, slowly filter in. And it was good to see that you guys showed the support and what I believe is proper red nature, red culture, Reds culture when it comes to showing support and love for each other in the Reds community. So I appreciate that immensely. Is there anything you want to say before we allow for the people to do what they need to do? Brian, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
I know, again, like what you said, thanks for coming in because it was a bit late, a bit short notice, and it just shows how much everybody is supporting the channel. Like you said, that they can all be here so tonight. And just what are we today? Today is Thursday, right? Yeah, Friday. So see you tomorrow night.
Previews tomorrow.
Previews and all of that. Yeah.
Yep. Do a preview for the upcoming Fulham game tomorrow, and then do a roll call for Saturday's matchup too, as well. But we'll do a preview tomorrow, so definitely tune in for that. JK, how about for yourself? Got anything you want to leave the people with?
Just thanks for the chat, the comments, some great comments, and press the like, and see you again.
See you again. Always. And Nolante, is there anything you want to leave the people with?
Just big up everyone. Like JK said, like, share, subscribe. Let's try and get these numbers up. You know, the work that been put in by the boys and 12, you know what I mean? You know, we have, no disrespect to the other podcasters, the clickbaiters, shall we say. So, you know where you're gonna get real offensive content. But it's all right, we'll keep pushing and we'll deliver.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, big up everyone, and we'll chat tomorrow and we'll do the match preview.
Yeah. Definitely always be safe out there. You know, it's difficult when sometimes you're surrounded by wolves in sheep clothing, or maybe even sheep in wolves clothing. Because we'll be the wolves; they could be the sheep. But yeah, charlatans and grifters alike, whatever. It's a matter of the fact that you guys join us on a channel that does appreciate each and every one of you in the community, and we'll always walk alongside you in this, whether it is a win, whether it's a draw, whether it's a loss. We're all Reds in this together, and it really does matter that we always keep that in our heart. So appreciate each and every one of you. We'll have, again, the preview tomorrow for the Fulham game. I'm going to try to get one of the guys from Fulham-ish to maybe join us tomorrow, but we'll see if it actually happens. Again, if you can, definitely try your best to be a part of the roll call. That's one of our most coveted features on the channel, because it's an opportunity to absolutely wish each other well in safety and the likes, to wherever you're going to be enjoying the game. It's an important matchup, so hopefully you'll join us for the roll call this weekend. But join us tomorrow for the preview. The preview will be at that 7 o'clock hour. We will be at the 7 o'clock hour tomorrow. Hopefully I can get some proper rest in tonight, and we will see you tomorrow. So as always, up the Reds, and be safe out there. Much love for sure. See you soon.